Hey guys, welcome back and welcome to another episode of Meet the Gardener, Meet the Farmer. We are here in Mount Vernon, Washington with Laura from Blackburn Gardens. We are going to view her drying shed. And it's funny because when I found you on social media, that's where we connected. I was so taken back. I was like, no way, I have to see this in person. You have the most beautiful dry flower shed, I should say, that I think I've ever seen. And now we're going to see it in person.
Thank you.
So Laura's going to give us a little sneak peek into her flower garden so you guys can see where she grows all of her beautiful flowers. And then we're going to take a little deep dive into all of your beautiful flowers that you dry throughout the season. All right, let's jump in. So can you tell us a little bit about the size of your space here? And you live in the same urban garden.
Yes.
But you've grown something beautiful here. So how big is your space? How much of it do you use for actually growing flowers?
Our property is less than an acre. It's about 3/4 of an acre.
Okay.
And we are within the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
The line is just behind our house.
Okay.
And so I would be considered micro as well as urban.
Yeah.
Micro-urban flower farm.
Uh-huh.
I actually don't know exactly the size of my actual growing space. I measured it and it was something like 5,200 square feet.
Oh, okay.
Ish.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
I have a lot of landscape beds that I cut from as well, but
Mm-hmm.
this is the space.
Yes, I love it. So you start out all of your seeds, right? We talked a little bit about seed starting,
Yes.
how we all get really excited and then we're done.
Yes.
Do you always grow in rows like this? Do you ever change your crops around? And what are your main flowers that you're growing out in your garden?
I do change where I'm growing things, honestly, because I have a limited space. As crops are done and then I'm reseeding maybe for fall or winter growing, I kind of just have to use whatever space came available. So
Right.
it doesn't end up being super well planned.
Right.
I just kind of have to do what works.
Yeah.
So, but things do tend to rotate through spaces. It's good to move certain crops anyway and not grow them in the same spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to start everything from seed if possible. There are a few things that I don't. There's a few that take longer to grow from seed than I really want to tie up space in my greenhouse for.
Sure.
But for the most part, I start the vast majority of my seeds on January 1st.
January 1st.
Yeah, I also really love cold hardy things. So that's a big focus of mine. I do a lot of sowing seed in the fall to start growing now, and then it grows throughout the winter in our mild climate. And then they bloom earlier in the spring.
Now, when you say you start out your cold hardy, some of your cold hardy annuals or perennials, what is that like? So do you start it right now? Did you already start those seeds and you're going to get them planted?
No.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, I actually have a little booklet all about growing cold hardy annuals.
Oh, great.
And,
okay.
I tell people to start their seed in August
Uh-huh.
or start direct sowing in September. And this year, September rolled around and I realized I wasn't even thinking about it at all.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things that will reseed themselves. So I don't have to do very much since I've done it for a lot of years. They will just end up coming back on their own. But I did just sow larkspur just a few days ago for my fall planting.
Okay.
And they should germinate, especially with the rain that we're getting now. That's good for them. They'll germinate in the next couple weeks and start growing and grow throughout the winter.
Okay.
Another one is Nigella.
Nigella, yeah, that's a
yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
flower. So eucalyptus, this was the first thing I noticed when we pulled up. Do you pull your eucalyptus up every year?
No.
You just let it go.
Yeah, it forms a taproot, so it would not be happy to be dug up.
Right.
But because we get so much rain here, it's not usually, that's not something it prefers. I don't think they like to have soggy roots. So I have them in raised beds. These big guys are going on 6 years old, I think.
Oh, really?
And then I've got, I squish them in. They're planted much closer than they really should be.
Right.
But they do fine. The biggest plants are anywhere from 3 to 6 years old.
Okay.
And then I have some younger ones mixed in.
I think you guys are zone 8B2, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're in the same zone. Because you do have, well, we both have really wet, I would say, fall, winter, spring.
Yeah.
Does the raised beds, has that made a difference for
Yes.
you over here?
Yeah,
Okay. Us
definitely.
too. It's funny because even with our dahlias, we've left them out before and they've done fine, but it's just the wetness that kind of gets to them. So do you dig up your dahlias every year?
I do, although this year I am not. So this is my first year taking a break.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also my normal practice is to lay leaves that my neighbors donate, as well as compost every fall, and then I tarp my whole section back here. That's because that was my original plot that I actually I took up the sod for and exposed a lot of weed seed. This was 7 years ago, and so I was always battling some pretty bad weeds. And I figured out that if I tarped it during the winter time, it would dramatically reduce my weed pressure. Yeah. So I still do that, and that also I think will help my dahlias be great through the winter. They keep the moisture off. And
yeah, I'll tell you what, when the years that we've left our dahlias in the ground and they came back that following year, they were so vigorous. Yeah. And they were like, they bloomed quicker. You know, the plants started to come up quicker. So there is something like beautiful and magical about not having to dig them that makes such a big difference. Yes. Now, when you're planting out your garden, do you grow things specifically for drying, or do you really just grow things that you love, that you know will sell? Like, what's that practice for you?
I used to just grow whatever was on the cut flower growing list. Okay. And I tried everything. And I think I figured out that not everything will sell well in my area, or just, you know, my circumstances. And then I also discovered what I really love, and I fell in love with dried flowers pretty quickly. And so every year I devoted more and more space to things that can be dried and cut out stuff that just didn't make me happy. Sure. And honestly, if it can serve two purposes, like if it can be sold well, fresh and dried, then to me that makes sense. Yeah, so I devote a lot of space to things that can be dried.
Okay, so I think that's something interesting to think about. I think as gardeners, especially, you know, because we're coming up to winter time, and that was one of the things we quickly talked about, is I feel like this is your time, or people are really excited about dry flowers because it's a way to extend the season for us that crave the flowers and all of the beautiful things that we have in our gardens. Do you think it's too late to dry things now, like in our zones? Is it still okay to harvest things and put it to dry?
If you have a space that is warm enough.
Warm enough, okay.
We are now getting into the damp and cooler temperatures, and so you may just find that things will not dry fast enough to not get moldy while they're drying. Okay. I think that is the main problem that people have. So while it's super warm out and dry, my drying shed, I mean, there's no humidity. It's perfect, and things will dry really fast. And I don't have any trouble with things getting moldy. If I were to cut stuff now, well, you'd want to wait until it's not been a rainy day. You don't want to cut it while it's got water on it. But I suspect that they just might not really fully dry well. Maybe you would want to bring them inside your house. Oh, really? Where there's just less humidity. That might help.
Okay, so that's probably the biggest things that we have to look for is humidity.
Yeah, moisture. And, good airflow.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful with your fire pit. I didn't even see this when we walked in.
Yeah, we spend a lot of space here. My husband made this arbor, and he's so proud of himself, and I think it's beautiful. I have some cold hardy jasmine that I planted just this spring. So they haven't, you know, they've reached the top in one growing season, which is nice, but they didn't do much. So I'm hoping next year they'll fill in more.
Yeah, this is beautiful. When you're doing like crop rotation, are you doing like major rotation, or like do you always have that space back there designated for the dahlias? I see you have some beautiful cosmos here, or do you just flip everything around?
Most of my raised beds, I try to plant with perennials.
Okay.
This section right here is new this year. So I've got some annuals in here, but a lot of those raised beds are perennial, and that's because of our winter drainage and everything, and it just works out well that way. I'm not super great at crop rotation. Like I told you earlier, I do try to, I just plant stuff wherever the space becomes available. So things rotate because of that. But I did grow my dahlias in the same section for quite a few years until this year, and they're in this space for the first time. And they're going to stay there since I'm not digging them. Right. But I do plan to move everything else, shifting it around. I'm also always, every year, you know, I think, well, if I do it this way, then the height differences and all that will all work out. And then something overachieves and gets too tall. And then, you know, it's like, oh, rats, I should have thought of that. I have a plan for this next year to not have my 8-foot tall straw flower blocking the view of all the dahlias. There have been people that came and were like, you're not growing dahlias this year. I'm like, Yes, I have like
Yes, you are.
600. I have 600 plants back there. They're just not
Wow.
visible because
Right.
of other stuff.
Yeah,
So.
I love that. That's so funny. So, Laura, I feel like you and I are very similar in that we're maximizing the space that we have.
Yes.
And so I fudge the numbers in terms of how many plants I can plant
Oh, yes.
in a bed. Okay, so I'm not
Yes.
alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask how far apart do you plant your dahlias?
Probably like 10 inches.
Oh, okay, great. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like
I mean, I'm
9.
aiming for 12, but I don't measure because I'm totally not a type A personality. And if I don't think to bring measuring tools out with
Yeah.
me, then I'm like, well, I'm already here. So I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go get those.
Yeah, you kind of have to
So
just
I
squint.
eyeball it, and they end
Yeah.
up getting closer and closer. Well, I've also done double planting. You can
really?
plant 2 tubers together, and then if one doesn't come, so they always have something in that space. That's a way of doing
my
that.
God.
And they grow fine. I get giant clumps, and I can divide them and sell the tubers without any trouble. Well, I
Right.
don't even know what is the recommended spacing because
Yeah.
I've never followed it.
We
What
do
do they
what feels
say,
right.
like
I think it's
16
like
inches or
12 to
something?
16
Yeah.
inches. Before I think I used to see a lot of like 16 to 18 inches,
Yeah.
which is you could fit a ton of things between that spacing. So for me, I'm
Right.
always like 9, 10. I never thought though about doing the 2
Right.
tubers per hole because that does happen and that is a big issue for us because and then everything else is behind.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to take away that tip, you guys. Remember that. If you have extras, plant 2 tubers per hole. Now, do you have a favorite dahlia? I know that's a terrible question to ask.
That is a terrible question. Can I say something really honest?
Yes, yes.
I am probably, you're not going to like this,
Okay.
but I would say that I am not a huge dahlia fan.
Okay, we're done with this interview, guys. Bye. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm
I
kidding, I'm
love
kidding.
dahlias.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
beautiful and I will always grow them, but they
Yeah.
are not my favorite flower.
Right. So, what is your favorite flower?
I think everyone who follows me knows
Yeah.
it's straw flower. Straw
Yes.
flower is my favorite, but this year amaranth came up pretty
Oh.
close to that.
Okay.
Straw flower, just everything about it, it's so so unique,
Right.
and it will live forever.
Right.
It's just such a cool plant.
Yeah.
It has such a cool texture. I love the fragrance.
Mm-hmm.
The colors are so vibrant.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite variety of straw flower, or do you?
I kind of go back and forth. I love the apricot mix from Johnny's
Oh,
Seeds.
okay. Do
And
you have
they're-
that one?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, they are down here.
Okay.
Watch out for spider webs.
Okay.
Spider season here. If you see me ducking wildly.
Yes, I know, right?
You'll know what
Turn into
happened.
ninjas.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, they're closed up right now because
Sure.
of the cool weather.
Uh-huh.
But they come in a really beautiful range of like
Okay.
copper. And I had a really unique one that I intended to save seed from. And then I think someone cut it during U-pick.
Oh, no.
And then I don't know if it didn't bloom again that same fall. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't find it again.
Oh,
but it was like
shucks.
a really pale peach.
Okay.
It was really beautiful. But I think that's
Nice.
probably my favorite. I grew gold this year for the first time.
Yeah.
And they are massive. They're the biggest by far of any straw flower that I've grown. And when it's open, it'll be that
Oh,
big.
wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, my
It's
gosh.
pretty amazing.
So, at what point do you pick your straw flowers? And since they are a main crop that you like to use,
Yes.
like at what stage, or do you do different stages?
It depends on what I'm going to use them for. So
Okay.
if I want to use them fresh, I like to let them open
Mhm.
pretty far, and you
Okay.
can start to see the center.
Okay.
I think that's the stage where people think they're most attractive.
Mm.
But if you're going to dry them, I like to wait. I like to not wait until you see the center, but you want to let a
Oh.
few layers of the petals open. And
Okay.
basically, kind of like zinnias, you want the stems to be rigid
Oh.
before you cut them.
Oh, good to know.
So you wait for them to be rigid, but you don't want them to be blown all the way open. Because
Okay.
they will continue to open as they're drying.
They do.
Mhm.
Okay. And so is it a myth that they last forever, or do they actually last forever?
In my experience, they will last until you're sick of them.
Oh.
Until you're tired of looking at them and
Yeah.
you say, let's just put you in the compost pile.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm happy you said that because we have, I think we're on year 3 of this little bouquet that we kept.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it's been about 3 years, and it comes in and out of the cabinet because when we had no flowers, it's like the house is full with straw flowers
Mhm.
because they're great. Now, we're talking about you saving seed. Can I ask, are you thinking about breeding straw flowers, or is that like part of something that you want to do?
No,
Okay.
I would love to have the brain space and the time to get excited about that.
Yeah.
But no, we're lucky. I mean, I'll save seed because I happen to walk past and
Sure.
see that it has formed seed.
You're like,
And I
got it.
say, yes, I'm going to save this. And then, there's some things that I plan to save, like poppies, of course. I'll save the seed. I sell the pods.
Oh, okay.
And before I sell the pods, I just dump all the seed out.
Got it.
Because they open on their own anyway. So
okay, good to know.
And Nigella, same thing. As I'm hanging that to dry in my drying shed, it drops all the seed on my floor, and I'll just lay an old sheet down on the floor while they're drying, and then I've caught all the seed. And so there are a few things that I do sell seed for, but yeah, it's usually because it's just very easy to collect the seed.
Okay. So let's walk our way and make our way into your shed. And you guys are about to lose your minds because I did, and it's so beautiful. So when did you start drying flowers? How did that become part of your thing?
I think that I started drying flowers the first year that I grew flowers. I ended up with some things left over, and at the time, this shed was just a storage space for a lot of junk. And I just hung some flowers up in the rafters, and I started making wreaths and ended up selling them, and discovered that I really loved drying flowers. And so I dried more every year. And at some point, I got tired of tripping over all of the stuff in this shed.
Yeah.
To try to reach the flowers, and I decided I just need to make this only for flowers. So we pulled everything out and we painted it, and here we are.
It's like better in person than on social media. This is so incredible. Wow. So is this where you would then, as a home gardener, if I want to dry my own things, you mentioned moisture. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Do you just like bring them up here? If we don't have a shed to dry in, what do you recommend us do? Can we put them in a closet? Like what is your recommendation for that?
There's just a few things really to keep in mind, and that is you want it to be dry, you want it to be dark, and you want good airflow. And if you have all those things, dry also I would include like temperature. You want it to be pretty warm, definitely warm. You don't want it to just be a chilly space. So people will use their garages. Sometimes that works very well. I guess if you have a closet, as long as it's not like really stagnant, that probably would be okay. Maybe you want to leave a fan running in there because you just don't want mold to happen. So it really depends on where you live in, the country or the world, and your humidity levels. For us here in the summertime, it's very dry, and so it works well. This actually is not sealed. This building is quite gappy. It's very old, and there's a actual opening all the way along the top. So there's good airflow. It gets quite warm. These windows face the south, but the sunlight can't come in. I have the flowers pretty much up high, and so the sunlight never hits the flowers. So it stays dim in here, but it heats up. And so it's just like this perfect combination. And that's why I think, the flowers in here retain their color so well, because they're not getting bleached out by sunshine.
By the sun. And that is something that we've noticed. Like when we've dried some things, the colors completely change because the sun was hitting it so hard. By the way, your hops growing in here, this is so magical.
Oh, we have ripped out so much.
Have you?
And my husband put up boards to block them, and they're still finding their way around.
I know. That's like...
It's kind of scary. It's like this creature that just wants to...
It does. They really take over. We grow hops in our garden too, and it really makes its way around things that I'm like, not on the trees.
Right.
Like, get off. Get off the trees. Now, are there flowers that are... Okay, aside from straw flowers, because I think that's one that I think a lot of us probably will dry because they're so forgiving, I think. Is there another flower, maybe like two more that you recommend playing with and drying them, or that dry easily?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that you can dry status. Not everybody loves dried status. I would say you need to try different colors to see what you like. This just was in the Johnny's apricot mix. It's obviously not apricot, but it is just an amazing shade of purple pink. It's gorgeous. Wow. And then the apricot, like to me, that's just so beautiful. But not everybody loves status. And so there's so many other things. And another one that I say you've got to try is amaranth.
The amaranth. Yeah. Wow. You did such a beautiful job drawing these.
This sells it just sells.
Right.
People go crazy for it.
Yeah. Now, as I would say, I consider you like a farmer florist. business owner, is it profitable for like smaller farmers to dry flowers and sell? Like, do you feel like you do sell a lot of product?
Yeah.
So it is a good way to supplement.
Well, for me it is.
Right.
You know, I have decided to not do some things. I just do what really fits our family lifestyle and my personality and all of that. And so instead of going to farmers markets, we decided let's just open for you pick. And instead of really stressing about trying to sell all my product fresh, which really can be very stressful. You know, if you have a ton of stuff that you've cut fresh, you've got to find a place to sell it. And if you don't have a regular outlet, you know, I sell at a local grocery store, the food co-op. But if I wanted to sell everything fresh, I'd have to find so many outlets, you know, and then there's the time pressure, and that's just a lot. You know, you're constantly having to keep up with that. The shelf life, you know, is just tiny for fresh flowers. But for me, I just loved the way that dried flowers take that pressure off and also extend things. And, you know, it's less common. So it just works well. Works well for me.
It's like a really great niche, right? And I think a lot the people who do it, they do it really well. Like you do it really, really, really well. It's so pretty. So your shed, we talked about this. It's open 2 weeks out of the year in September, correct? If people want to come out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
2
to
weekends.
know. 2 weekends. Okay. So you guys can come out. I think you're done for this season though, right?
I am. I do open for people who couldn't make it.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
But yeah, in general, I try to get everybody, you know, around the same time.
Yeah.
And it's very fun, you know, when there's a big group that comes. It's a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, I feel like it's such a fun girls' night to come here and get flowers. Such a like beautiful photo, like selfie moment in this shed right now.
Yeah.
I love all of the antiques that you've integrated here, like the little couch. I don't want to leave. I feel like I could hang out here all day. So we've talked about good flowers to dry. What's one that's uncommon that most people wouldn't think about drying, but that's a really good one?
Well, you're standing right in front of it, and I will pull this off the wall. This is curry.
Curry. Wow.
So you could cook with this. I don't know actually how you would use it. Like, do you use the flower or do you use the leaves? I don't know, because I've not done that. I ended up just buying it was a tiny little plant just a couple of years ago at a local store, because it was just a pretty, like a silvery foliage, and I thought that was so beautiful. And I planted it, and it took off, and then it did this. And I saw these flowers, and I thought, it was a similar texture to straw flower.
Right.
And I thought, I bet these would dry. And sure enough, they do. So I cut all of it, and this is all I have left. It's, you know, it has a fragrance.
Yeah, it's very pungent. Like it's almost sweet.
Right. It's like a sweet, savory smell.
Yeah.
I don't know that people would know that it's curry.
Right.
And, you know, I have people ask me, what is this? You know, when they're buying it.
Yeah.
And I tell them, and they say, yeah, that's where that smell is.
Yes.
But I think it's just a really lovely shade and a unique.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I totally see this, like, I don't know, in my mind, I'm thinking like Studio McGee, when she has like her flowers in like a vase in a beautiful bathroom or living room or kitchen. Like, this is what I'm looking at right now. That is so cool. And you also do grasses, which I know it can be dried, but I don't always reach for it. So like all of these beautiful plumes, are these ones that you started from seed and you're growing out as annuals?
Yes. So this is limelight millet.
Oh, millet.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is very easy to grow.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
Just direct seed it, and it does its thing.
Okay, good to know. I'm like just making mental notes, and I'm like, okay, let's just all take a mental note of all of the beautiful things that she successfully is drying in here. Now, in terms of having these for bouquets, do you ever mix your dried with fresh flowers?
Oh, I have done that. Yes. Sometimes people will want something very specific for an order for like a DIY event, and so they'll buy a bucket of fresh flowers, and they'll also take some of the dried flowers as well, because it's maybe a color they didn't have fresh at the time.
Now, in terms of crafts, other than just having this, like these beautiful little bouquets throughout your house, what's like the most common use for your dried flowers? Like, do you often see yourself or other buyers using it for, I don't know, wreaths?
Wreaths are very popular. I personally like to display dried flowers just in a simple vase, as a single variety. I don't prefer them mixed together. I do that and sell them that way. People like them. But I think they're most beautiful when they're in a grouping of all the same thing.
Right.
That's my favorite.
Same here. And just one quick thing before I forget. I saw this back here.
Oh,
this like
yes.
dried flower.
My lady.
You're her lady. It's just so beautiful.
Thank
I don't know
you.
why, but in my mind, I feel like everybody who has either a shed or a greenhouse, you need to have a lady with dried flowers on it. Like, this is so magical right here. I love that.
Thank
Real
you.
quick, is this your eucalyptus?
This is.
Wow,
This
and
is
it
the
dried
silver
so
plate.
nice. Okay.
It's actually, I wouldn't say it's fully dry yet. I
Okay.
just hung this not even a week ago. And
Okay.
for you guys, I just stuck it in here.
Okay.
It's not quite as dry as I would like. But eucalyptus usually dries pretty fast.
Right.
And sometimes if the newer growth on top will shrivel up and not be attractive dried. So you can snip that off.
Oh, okay.
Which I have already done. So yeah, I have a couple different varieties and they all really dry very well. When you dry it just by air drying, it can get kind of fragile and shatter. So I like to preserve it with glycerin. I have some stems that are preserved with glycerin in my house.
Okay.
And those will last, a long time. They get darker. The glycerin kind of changes the color a little bit, but then they retain their drape and they don't get crispy.
Okay. Have you ever tried either zinnias or dahlias with the glycerin?
No, I haven't. I have not tried to dry dahlias. I have friends who have done that successfully.
Okay.
I just prefer things that I can just hang like this. Yeah.
Yeah,
If it
I
takes
like
too
it
much
too.
extra, I don't have the time or the patience for it.
I think she and I are so like we get really excited about things and then we're like, no.
Yeah.
The payoff is not worth it.
You can do zinnias as well.
Yeah.
If you hang them, they will kind of curl. They won't be their normal shape.
Okay.
But if you want them to retain their flat shape, then you need to cut the heads off and lay them down in like a silica bead.
Okay.
Gel bead.
That's
kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the way I've seen them before. I really am just taking mental notes because I would love to like create a corner of our cut flower shed inspired by you. We'll call it Laura's Corner. So we're wrapping up this interview because I want to do a little bit of shopping before we're going. I don't want to keep you for too long. If I wanted to recreate something like this, or do you have any tips for a home gardener? Like, what can we do to achieve what you've done here? Did this cost a lot of money to do? No? Okay.
It was just some paint, really. I mean, white paint can do a lot. It can cover up a lot of sins. Yeah. Honestly, it's just dried flowers.
Yeah.
You're just hanging them. I'm not doing anything complicated.
Sure.
I'm not doing anything really very special. People want to know, like, how did I do this? I just had my husband drill screws in these beams in a very old falling apart shed. And I rubber band the bunches together and I stick them on.
Yeah, that's it.
And I walk away.
Yeah.
And that is what I've done. So
yeah,
it's not hard. It's not expensive to start.
Okay. And you don't need a ton of space. I mean,
No.
obviously you have a nice sized garden, but you really don't need a ton of space to grow.
But even
productive.
so, we have less than an acre and
Right.
we have a home on that as well. It's not all growing
Right.
space. You don't need a really large property in order to grow a lot. You can fit a lot in.
Right. And I love that you said that because we've been shopping for land, window shopping, I should say.
Yeah.
Not serious shopping, but just like window. And I'm always like, well, I need a ton of space to grow flowers. But most of my friends that grow, they grow on like an acre or less, but they're very productive.
Right.
And I think it's when you start like spacing or playing with the spacing and seeing what you can get away with and like what you've done in your beautiful garden. And not only are you growing flowers, you guys, but she's also growing like these massive pumpkins back there.
Those were volunteers.
Were
that
they
was
really?
The compost pile back there.
Oh, I am
And
very jealous.
I didn't have the heart to pull them out. So
very jealous.
We have some pumpkins.
Okay, I thought like, there's like some random little things back there. Okay, the compost pile grows the best products.
Yes,
it's like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's the best. Thank you so much for showing us this whole thing and inspiring us to not overthink it, that we don't need acres and acres and acres and, thousands and thousands of dollars to create something beautiful like you have here. So, so magical. Okay. We have to wrap up the tour, which I don't want to do, but I also recognize you have a family and a life. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful space. I know a lot of you are going to ask, can we buy your flowers online? So can you give us a little or some details on how we can stay connected with you? I'll make sure to put up all of her social media down below in the description box, but how can we order flowers from you?
Yeah, so I will be putting up what remains of my dried product online in just a couple weeks after I fill some other orders. But everything that's left will be available for shipping. It's not super cheap to ship across the country, but it is very shippable. Dried flowers ship great. And then I also sell seed, and that's on my website. And I have a cold hardy growing guide that I made, and that is also available. It's downloadable, and that is on my website.
Again, I will link Laura's website down below. If you guys are interested in ordering any of the products that she has left, follow her on social media because she also has some events coming up. Do you have a wreath event,
yes,
self-serve wreath?
I have some wreath workshops coming up the next 2 weekends.
Okay, great. I wish we would be up here for that because that would be so fun to do. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today on her farm in her dry flower shed. I'm so inspired. It smells so good in here too. Like, it's so fall, the fall vibes that I'm getting.
Yes, I was into fall in like July, mid-July, because this was full then. And I'm like, all right, let's just call it fall.
Yeah. It feels like fall. It totally does. And this, for me, I think is like a little bit more of a softer transition into fall because I love summer so much, but I'm also like, okay, this feels like, okay, I'm ready for fall. This is welcoming. Thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us today, and I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye-bye.